Welcome back, fellow passengers. It's that time once more. This week we were given a blank slate, and the name of this week's episode, for those who are wondering, was Tabula Rasa, which is Latin for blank slate, so I get to make the joke. With that blank slate, I want to use it to shed some light on the concept of flashbacks in this show. We've already seen how it can be used to highlight the tragic event of Oceanic Flight 815 going down. But what else can these flashbacks give us? All that and more later. For now, it's the pop culture segment. I noticed an interesting object in this episode, and I hope you caught it too. Somebody had a Walkman. For those of you who don't know what a Walkman is, shame on you. Go do your research. However, I would like to point out that 2004 was the year that the iPod Mini was released. Want to know what's even better? It came out in 5 colors: silver, blue, green, pink, and gold. I wonder which one the mystery person would have chosen. Enough about all that. It's time for the main event. Welcome to Lost Ate My Podcast. Hello, everybody. I'm your host, BusyBee. And joining me, as usual, is my color commentator, hijinx.
Hello.
So I got to ask, what color is your commentary going to be today? Is it going to be one of the 5 that I just listed?
I'm trying to remember. Well, I had a Walkman. Thank you. Wait, did I have a Walkman? I know I had
I think I saw CDs. A Walkman in the house once, maybe.
Oh no, they would have been long extinct before you came around. Now I distinctly remember having when they came out with the CD version, which, by the way,
it was a CD Walkman.
They were bulky. Oh, was it? Because the original Walkman was a cassette one.
It's in like the last 5 minutes of the episode, and I can reveal it later if you want. Not right this second. He has it on his lap, and he has the headphones on.
Oh, that's right. I do remember. Okay, yeah. So I had a CD one, and they were bulky as hell and not convenient. But yeah, I had one of those for some brief period of time. I'm trying to remember the iPad Mini. I feel like I probably had a blue one. I'm sure.
I know we had a white one.
I remember seeing green.
We had a Nano, I think.
Yeah, that was a Nano.
And we had the original. I remember that monstrosity.
I still have it. I even got it to, I even found the charger for it.
You got it
and it works. Has my original playlist on it and everything. My original songs and everything. It's a dinosaur.
I didn't get to finish my joke. I was going to say,
I'm sorry.
I think I know the answer for what color your commentary is today. It's golden, just like you.
No, goldenrod was my color.
Goldenrod.
I was the goldenrod of doom. So yes.
Heck yeah. Okay, as usual, I did my guess as to what's going to happen in the episode. Couldn't remember, so it didn't matter. Blank slate was what I remembered from the episode. So if you haven't had a chance to watch the episode yet, fellow listeners, please go and do so, because we're about to spoil the snot out of it. And then we'll be talking about flashbacks. Alrighty. So how'd you like the episode?
Well, it's fun. As soon as the episode gets going, then I'm like, oh, yeah. But then I can't remember how much they reveal, because it's like, I know the whole backstory.
That's the problem.
we
know all how much.
But how much do they show in this episode? So, and like in the pilot, they showed much more than I thought they did. But then once they start doing the flashbacks, I was like, oh, they don't show that. So yeah, it was like the opposite of that. But
yeah, and
so this, I couldn't remember. I forgot that Tabula Rasa was Kate's story, though. I didn't, or the beginning of Kate's story. So that was a surprise.
Middle-ish and part of Kate's story.
But because sometimes I can look at the episode title and remember whose story it is, but sometimes I can't for the life of me remember. And this is one of the ones I couldn't for the life of me remember whose story we started out with. So,
well, thinking about it now, the phrase blank slate kind of makes sense when it comes to Kate, because when she landed on the island, she was trying to get a blank. She's trying to start over clean. And even in her flashback, she's trying to start over clean on the farm. But I also realized it's also a blank slate for somebody else in this episode. Michael. Locke gave him the chance to start fresh with his kid by having him bring Vincent over at the end. I was like, "Aw, Michael tried so hard to get Walt to talk to him. Instead, he's talking to weirdo Locke. And then Locke helped him out. I thought that was really sweet. Let's see. What else did I love the fact that I kept calling him Lefty because I forgot his name was Ray. But that's because his right arm was prosthetic, the guy that she helps.
Oh, yeah.
I wrote something about him having good music taste. Hold on, where was it? It just says nice song choice, Lefty. I think it's when they were heading back right before the vehicle follows. Just
Yeah.
something about that song, it was cracking me up.
That's funny.
And I kept quoting different people throughout the episode. If only we were all wearing license plates, was something Saeed said.
Yeah.
In response to Charlie saying they can have a satellite, like, look at your license plate.
Charlie's like, oh, way to make me feel stupid, Saeed.
And then Jack, Mr. Sunshine over there says 3 days ago we all died. That was great.
Which, well, I'm not gonna spoil that, but
no, yeah, no, yeah, I think that's why I quoted it. And
it's one of the long-standing theories about Lost, but
and as a reminder, I'm gonna have to do this every episode just in case anyone comments about it. We are gonna do spoilers. We're gonna try not to, but there will be spoilers. We have seen the whole series. This is more of a show for those who are doing the rewatch, not first time through. If you're doing this first time through, you're very brave and you don't care about spoilers. It's good on you. For the rest of you, you know why we're here. Unlike BusyBee, who's unsure where she's at all times.
No, BusyBee does not like spoilers, and neither do I. I mean, I avoid them at all costs if it is.
I don't like trailers. I've avoided watching Lost for 2 years to try to prepare for this.
I like trailers. I mean, except for the trailers that I don't like the trailers that literally show every good thing or everything that happens in a show, and then the rest of the movie is crap.
Don't get me wrong. I do like when I see a trailer and I feel like I know the whole premise. I know the start and I know the middle and I know kind of what the end is supposed to be, but I have no idea how they do the twists and turns. And that's what I look forward to. But okay, so besides the fact with us not liking spoilers, we will spoil the show because for us, it's not spoilers. We have seen it. We are very used to the show. We've talked about it nonstop for 20 years, give or take. So if you have a problem with that, I'm sorry, maybe this podcast isn't for you. But for those of you who are still here with us, thanks. We like having you.
Well, I mean, I don't think we're going to do any heavy spoilers. I mean, like
we try to watch ourselves,
but some of the theories about the show will probably nip in the bud as it goes along.
Yeah,
I would say, just because some of that stuff really bothered the crap out of me. But
minor spoiler. I have started every single one of my notes asking when is this character showing up, because I really want him to show up and I can't wait for him to show up. So
I'm just don't remember
not
when.
To spoil who that is and what his role is in the show. If and when it comes up, I will watch my mouth the best I can.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, so we're gonna, if there is anyone who's watching it for the first time but doesn't mind spoilers, then this is okay. As long, I mean, like I said, they're relatively. What kind of monster are you? No, I mean they're cool. Don't mind
monster.
Yeah, they're smoke monsters. Well, no, smoke monsters are kind of violent, but anyway. So,
well, they like spoilers. They're violent.
Yes, continue.
Okay, so with that being said, was there anything else you want to discuss about the episode before we get into the fandom bit of it?
No, I mean, like I said, it's just most of the first flashbacks for the and I mean, I know you're gonna get into flashbacks and what we learned that they were going to be about. They're really just kind of introductions to the characters, and they kind of give us a brief kind of, okay, so this is who this person was in, before they got on the plane kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they reveal, they start out just kind of giving us breadcrumbs about each of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not a lot, but yeah.
So the reason why I really like the way this show does flashbacks is because with the very opening sequence, I feel like I've been dropped at the midpoint of a very, very long movie. I feel like we've just had not necessarily the climax, but the rising action. They've hit the major plot point right dead center in the middle of the book. the plane crashed. And now as we're going forward, they keep throwing chapters that came before back at me so I can figure out what the heck happened beforehand. And I love that. I like being already in the action and then getting some exposition as we go on. There are some shows that front load the exposition, and then I never get to the exciting part because I just end up stopping the show.
Yep.
So having something like that is so nice.
It's the same way that we feel about books, where there's the books that have like so much exposition, like 75% of which is unnecessary and really feels like it's more for the writer than it is for the audience. It's like they want to regurgitate everything they know about this plant or this setting or this time period that the book's written in, and the reader is just like, get to the plot. So tell me why I'm here.
I know what story she's talking about. She's actually very...
Now, I don't want people coming after me. But
okay, I won't go after that one.
And it's not just that story. There have been other. She's just really prolific at that. But there are other books that do that to me too. But sometimes you can do so much of that it takes you out of the story, and you lose your reader because you've buried them in so much exposition. They're like, now wait, what's going on, and why am I even here? And so,
see,
JJ, and he's all about, there's a famous quote, one of my favorite quotes from JJ is, it's not about the what, it's the why. And some people get so buried in the what that they forget about the why. And JJ's more about the why. So anyway.
Oh yeah, sure. But I am going to name drop one author that did this, only because this author is no longer on the planet, so I don't feel like I have to watch my tone. I had such a problem with it in high school. I could not read To Kill a Mockingbird. I had to skip the first 2 chapters in order to even read it. I understand. It's like one of these great literary classics. There's so much exposition in those first 2 chapters. I wanted to throw the book at a wall. Harper Lee, fantastic author. Can't see
all the English teachers are coming after you.
They can come after me all they like. If they can find me. I know my English teacher from middle school can find me. She lives 3 blocks away, but she can come after me too. She knows how I felt. She's watching me.
I'm telling on you too.
Oh, tell on me. I'll tell her herself. I really don't like it when I have to plow through exposition. There are some books that do it fantastic. They have like the little snippets here and there. I feel like I know enough about the back. I don't need to know it all.
Yeah, if there's stuff buried in the exposition that comes up later in the book, and there is an author who does that I absolutely adore, to where I would have to flip back into the book to find those pieces, and that was Pat Conroy, who's a Southern writer. I think he is passed away now.
Note to self: look up Pat Conroy. Gotcha.
Yeah, I used to read some of his books. I'm trying, and now they're like all escaping me right now, of course. But
butterflies.
And butterflies, as they fly away, and watch them go. But he would plant stuff in the beginnings of the book that you would have to like go back and find later because they always popped up later in the book. That's different. But yeah, if you're planting all this, I mean, he wrote the Lords of Discipline, which is about the Citadel, which was just crazy good. That was a movie as well. And he wrote, what was the one with that was a movie with Barbara Streisand? It'll come to me later.
Barbara Streisand was in a movie?
Barbara Streisand was in many movies and even got an Oscar.
You know what? My brain, for some reason, when you said Barbara Streisand, it's just thinking of the song about Barbara Streisand. Well, and my brain was like, she's not an actor. She's part of the music industry.
Really? Okay.
Look.
A Star is Born?
I didn't watch the original or the remake.
Well,
I know it's on my list.
She wasn't in the original. She was in the remake of the original. And then there's a remake of the remake. Yes, ma'am.
And there's a book,
Welcome to Hollywood. Welcome to Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I almost thought of the name, but keep going.
Oh, we almost had it, folks. Keep praying for us.
It was there.
It was almost there. Just almost got it.
Just keep going.
So when it comes to the flashbacks, I really do enjoy how each episode seems to focus on one specific character. I'm not getting like 4 or 5 different characters all getting flashbacks, except for I think the first episode. Or even that was just Jack, I think. Um yeah, it looked like it was Jack's episode. The only episode that had 2 people in it, really, that I've known so far was the second episode, which had a flashback of Charlie and a flashback of Kate. But a lot of stuff
Prince
happened
of
in the
Tides.
episode, so that's all they had was 2 flashbacks because they shoved everything in the first 2 episodes. And my God.
Yes.
And then they started
By the
being
way,
stingy after that.
Prince of Tides was what I was trying to think of. But go ahead.
Prince of Tides, hey, she found it, folks. Good job.
Yay! Well, Google is your friend.
Oh, cheater.
I did cheat because I remembered the tides part, but I just couldn't think of the time. But go ahead.
So I've been trying to guess by the name of the episode who it's about. Of course, I didn't guess the Tabula Rasa. I believe I guessed episode 4. And for those of you who are unaware, Hijinx and I typically record 2 episodes at a time. So,
and that's just due to our busy schedule and time constraints.
Yes, because I work
and we're in different states.
8 to 6 Monday to Friday. She works very odd schedules that are mostly overnight from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., 2 days on, 3 days off kind of thing.
I'm a vampire.
Back and forth. So anyway, all this is to say that Hijinx and I lead very busy lives. I have a kid. She has a cat. I mean, I have a cat too, but that cat, my fur brother, very demanding. I'm not sure if it's going to. Now. I was gonna say, I'm not sure if it's going to transition well.
He's trying to break. He's trying to break in.
But I had to cut for a split second because she and I talked about something else, and that was not related to this at all. And he was yelling through the door at her.
Closely, if you have really good headphones, you may hear his plaintive cries to be let in.
I will try to cut out his cries sometimes, but there are sometimes I think he still squeaked in. He's my brother. And I like him more than my real brother.
His name is Bristow because as much as I love Lost, Alias was my first love. So
maybe we'll do a rewatch of Alias after this.
We should. Alias is my first love. JJ knows it. So it's fine.
Yeah, talk about not having a favorite child.
But I mean, I was more involved in Lost. I met Alias first.
Aww. First love and whatnot. So yeah, we record these episodes 2 at a time. And so I'm going to go ahead and say this part. I looked at the next episode title before I watched it, and I do for every single episode. I figured out who it was just by the title. I was very proud of that. So there are some episodes where I can figure it out. Some I can't. But if I can figure out who the episode's about, I get excited or I get...
But that's also because we've seen the whole show. So, I mean, you wouldn't know
the whole show. So I know the title of episode 4 deals with a very specific character because I remember that part in his story arc. Mm-hmm. And I love watching all the different arcs combine and create and split off again. Because that's one of the things that hasn't really been shown yet, but it will be shown in later episodes. It's how all these people are so intermingled. It's a wonder they were strangers on the plane.
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
It's so crazy.
It is funny. I mean, that's one of the things I like about finally doing a rewatch, which I've resisted for so long. You know what? I do remember the other reason why I had kind of resisted the rewatch. I had wanted, and I still kind of want to. I wanted to get the full Blu-ray set. Well, I mean, I have them all on all the seasons on Blu-ray, but there was like this massive Blu-ray set that they had. I want the box set, which I have for Alias. But I kind of wanted to do like the full bender, going through the whole thing and experiencing like that. And I probably still will do that one day. But
we'll do that again. Don't worry.
It's fun. It has been fun, which I knew it would be, to see the characters before they got all intermingled with each other, and just kind of seeing that all
of them having their own storylines.
well, no, not just that, but seeing them all young and innocent.
Before we thought they were young and innocent.
Before all hell breaks loose, and before they all, everything happens again. And so, yeah, I just forget. What?
All hell breaks loose.
No, I don't think so.
It is
That
in
would
one of
be
the shows I'm watching. You know what? It might have
that's
been
not
Supernatural.
that sounds like a supernatural. No, yeah. I was gonna say Lost is way too vague on their episode titles. That's like in your face, and yeah, that would be more of a supernatural thing than
Either
yeah.
Supernatural or
Lost
the 100.
Lost is Lost is a lot more vague about their episode titles than that.
So I have to be honest about something, and I'm going to go ahead and leave this in the episode because I think it's hilarious. And for anyone who's doing a rewatch with us, will think it's funny too. Because we started doing this and we're watching Lost, my brain kicked myself into the second season, and I thought about a certain character, and I realized I wanted to watch something with him in it. But I can't see him until season 2, and I'm trying to watch it as we go, not just binge. Which meant I had to go pull up the 100 so I could see him. So I'm watching the 100 at the same time as I'm watching
I thought
Lost.
you were going to say the mum. I thought you were going to say the Mummy, because then I was going to know who you're talking about. The same person?
I also have to watch the Mummy. I read the book. It was the book based on the movie. It was great. I felt like it described some things a little better. But yeah, I'm definitely got to watch the Mummy. Technically the Mummy 2, because that's the one he's in. But no, this other guy I had to watch because I was like, oh, I miss him. Oh, I miss that whole show. I'm going to go rewatch the whole thing. It's my third time rewatching it.
Wait, is this the eyeliner guy?
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know who you're talking about then.
Okay, so is there anything else you want to talk about concerning flashbacks or the episode, anything like that?
Not that I could think of. Like I said, yeah, not a whole bunch. Though I will say that the guy who plays the marshal is one of my favorite character actors. He does such a good job. But
he does, and he was in Supernatural, so seeing him, I was like, hey, the yellow-eyed demon. What is he doing here?
Because he's one of those guys that's like
guy in the first like 3-4 seasons.
That you know is going to be a good, just like someone else who. There's another guy who's one of my favorite character actors who shows up later in Lost, and who I met at the Lost fan parties.
Okay, so yeah, the Marshal, he's a fantastic actor, as we said. If you can't tell, I had to cut something out, and I'll figure this out in post. But I ask every week if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns about the podcast, you want to say something, feel free to shoot us a message on Instagram or Twitter or
did you want to shout
X?
out?
I'm sorry.
Did you want to shout out the one guy?
I am I have it up on my screen. I'm gonna shout him out in just a second. But we're at Lost Ate My Pod on both handles, and on YouTube it is Lost Ate My Podcast, and we have a comment on our first video. And I was so excited to see this. I went and I loved it and I liked it. And I did all sorts of stuff.
It called me and
by username Kapunkt. Very interesting spelling. He said, or they said, this was a really nice throwback. It's a shame that the fuselage is gone. I wasn't super active there, but it was an absolute cornerstone. And you're right. Mm-hmm. I wasn't even on it, and I know how much of a cornerstone it was. There were times where the episode would be airing and mom would be at the computer, like in the next room, and I would just see the threader board go just spamming comments left and right. I'm like, oh my gosh. Or no, I'm sorry, the linear board, the LB, not the threader board.
Thank you.
You weren't a threader.
I wasn't a threader. I only went to the threader board when my presence was deemed necessary to.
When your Golden Run commentary was deemed necessary?
When it was necessary for me to go take down somebody. But yes, I was normally on the linear board enjoying chats and also taking down people who might be rude to other people. But most of the time I was just chatting with my core group of friends who I am still friends with to this day.
Oh, great.
On face, the Book of Face. And the Gram of Insta. And
another thing, your niece gave me the handle she wants to be known as on here. So Abba the artist, ABATHEARTIST. You can find her on Instagram, I know for sure. And I've tagged her on one of our posts saying that she's the one who created our logo and whatnot. At some point, we'll have her on for interviews and whatnot.
You can call her your cousin.
She is my cousin, but I know for you, it's your niece.
She's
our
your cousin.
Family.
She's your cousin.
She's my cousin. So thank you so much to Abba the artist for helping us create that logo. It looks fantastic.
Is it Abba or Aba?
Ooh, I wonder if it's Aba. You know, I read it as Abba, but it should have another B. You're right. So Aba the artist, We're going to leave that whole bit in. I don't care. I've been pronouncing it ABBA in my head for a
Just
week.
because you're a
since you told
loser.
me.
Because ABBA is two B's. Loser.
ABBA's a different artist.
ABBA is a different artist. And actually that would be a better name.
Wouldn't
ABBA
that be
is a
so
different
cool,
artist.
though? If they
ABBA
made
is a
our
different
logo.
artist.
I think they're
They're
more
old
musically
and
inclined than artistically
I don't think
inclined,
I was gonna say I don't think they draw as well as ABBA.
ABBA the artist. The artist.
ABBA, I know. And she is the one that I was saying in one of the previous episodes who found Lost, became obsessed with Lost, and was like, where are all of my Lost obsessed people? And was one of the people who made me think about, hey, or had me agreeing to this, because she's one of the people who didn't have a
set of people to nerd
fandom.
out with.
Yeah, she didn't have like this massive fandom to nerd out with, who missed that boat, ship sailed kind of thing, because of the fact that the fandom was 20 years ago. Or, well, I mean, it was a couple of years ago when she discovered Lost, binged it, was obsessed with it, got the numbers tattooed on her.
Yeah, she already has the numbers tattooed. I don't even have them tattooed on me yet. I'm going to. I
Really?
want them, though, to like be outlined to say 108, but that's a whole other thing. I think that'd be really
I'm sure
cool.
she'll do that for you.
Oh, I'm sure she will.
But yeah, so I suddenly became like the coolest aunt in the universe once she realized that I was so involved and had met JJ and done the fan parties and the book and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I retroactively became the coolest aunt in the universe. So yeah.
You guys were almost besties, except I think you're still a little bit angry at your sister-in-law.
Yes.
You're mad that her birthday landed the day before yours.
Yeah. She was born an hour and a half before my birthday.
Oh, not even hours, like an hour and a half, if.
Yeah, about 10:30ish p.m. So yeah. But to be fair,
how dare you, Aba?
My sister-in-law, Aba, my sister-in-law had been in labor all day, and Aba was breech, so they had to do C-section. But yeah, she wouldn't turn around. She was very stubborn. So,
well, I think that's a trait in the family somewhere.
But yeah, I don't give Aba crap about that. I give her mom crap about that every year.
Of course, it's her fault.
It's a running joke. Yes. So anyway, but yes, but we still do joint birthdays, and actually, if we ever get around to my first, when I moved back to Georgia, we had a joint birthday party that was Lost themed.
Didn't she go with Locke?
She went as Locke. She had a bald mask. A bald hest, and did like face lines, and she opened the door like that, and I was like, oh. And if it hadn't been for the fact that I had been at work that day, I had planned to dress as Sawyer, and I was really upset that I didn't do that. I still want to do another Lost theme party with her because of us having the joint birthdays that are the joint birthdays. But yeah, she did labels on drinks, also with a logo that's close to our logo, that people who watch the show understand what that's about.
Oh, but yeah.
Yeah, just had, she did a design on the cake and everything. So yeah, we had a Lost birthday party, and it was so much fun. It was just really for me and her, and like and my brother, and who's her dad, and her brother, my nephew, and her mom, and it was so funny. We had so much fun. But yeah, so it's been, that again, that was the point of the podcast was, it was seeing how much she became obsessed with the show. And I really thought about it. It's like, what do people do when they find the show and get all into it? And there's no fuselage. There's no, giant fandom to discuss. And there aren't a lot of shows like Lost that are like that had people just scrambling. Well, and now that the whole show's out, you don't have to wait for the next week to, wonder what's going to happen. Like I said, people are just binging it. but they still want to kind of talk about the show because there were still a lot of mysteries. And I don't know. It's just,
one day I'll publish my notes that I take on each episode. They're very chaotic because I don't have anyone to talk to about it. I need to talk to myself about it. I mean, I could talk to hijinx all day long. But there are like just some little weird things. Like I have in all caps, he knows you're a criminal. Which I think is when Kate's talking to Jack and Jack's like, you got anything else to tell me?
Well, and see, that's the kind of stuff that would happen on the threaded board. I mean, on the linear board, like I said, we would get into little breakout discussions, but you couldn't have like a full discussion about like one little element. But the threaded board, you could do that because they had all different kind of categories about each episode, and just one little thing from the episode you could break out into a discussion. And I mean, I didn't really get into that, but yes, I think you would have loved the threaded board because you could find, did you see this? And then there'd be like a whole thread on, did you see that? And so people would be all talking about that. And then, so every little nitpicky thing that was happening in the episode, people would jump on and start a thread on, and then everybody would talk about it. And so, I mean, there was a lot of people who did that. And like I said, I mean, I just, I do feel, sad for the people who didn't have that experience or weren't able to have that. So, I mean, I guess if, hopefully we get some kind of a following for this. And if we are able to, if there's enough interest, people can come into the comments and talk about stuff. And, if it does get any kind of a following, we can start our own little
we can start
board.
A Discord if we really want to.
I'm sorry. That's right. You can do Discord. But yeah, I mean,
it has your linear and threader boards, basically. I can make it work. I'll even label them that way. Linear board, threader boards.
And then BusyBee can drag me in there kicking and screaming to answer questions, which I've done before. I'm just telling you where
I know it's getting cut, but it's really funny. Hijinx used my real name and then actually made the cut motion with her hands that I couldn't help cracking up.
It's just to make sure that so you'll know where to cut.
Here's the thing. I only listen to the audio. I don't look at it visually. I cut the video out entirely. I save it for future reference.
You save it to laugh at me later. Oh, anyway, but I mean, we can start a Discord. And again, if people leave messages for me, or if there's something that they really, really need to know that I feel like I've got an answer for, which I probably do. And what I used to do is I could find out stuff too, because I still have people that I know, I think.
Mm-hmm. Do you?
Well, I mean, I still have email addresses and stuff that I could scour up. Well, I mean, I still talk to Rick all the time, but I mean, he was only vaguely involved in some of it. You could probably find out. I haven't talked to Javi in a long time, but I mean, if worse comes to worse, I could. Oh, I forgot Paul Dini. That was the other thing. I forgot that Paul Dini was involved in the first. I mean, he was part of the writer's room. But he still got credit for. I'm sorry,
No, you're all right. That's fine, because I do want to talk more about some of the writers and all that. We'll probably use a separate episode to talk about them and some of the other stuff they've done. But for right now, that's all that we have. Unfortunately, we got to let you guys go because we have to cut for about 5 minutes, if that, and then start recording our second episode. And it's already 9:00 at night. So that being said, thank you all for joining us on our flight this evening. Thank you and good night. Hiya! Post-production BusyBee here with a special announcement. After this episode and the next we recorded, Junior, our trusty sound engineer and jack of all trades, managed to get our podcast up on more streaming services. He's also going to be helping us level up our podcast in terms of the production. So, huge shout out to him. He has another special role in this house. He's my husband. So I have to give him the extra thanks. You can't see it, but he's nodding his head along as he's helping me record this post-op. So again, huge shout out to him. And welcome to Lost Date, my podcast for all of you new listeners over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And with that, this is now the end of the episode. Good night.